I just want to talk to you about housing and house prices, because I've had an update within the last few minutes telling us that property prices on average falling by 0.2% over the month-on-month, but still up on last year. And crucially in London there's been a bigger fall, but of course subject to much bigger swings in house prices. And in London, in the capital, prices are still 18.4% higher than they were this time last year. The average property price in the capital now £460,500. Compare that to the £177,000 for the average property price across the UK. So let's talk through the numbers with Henry Pryor. He's a housing commentator. Henry, morning to you. These figures just in to us from the Land Registry. Talk us through what you make of them first of all. This fall, 0.2% month on month. Can we read much into that?
Well, I think we can, Ben, and morning to you. Yes, the reason we pay a lot of attention to the Land Registry when they talk about house prices once a month, as they do, is that we're talking about deal prices. Now, contrary to the earlier Rightmove survey from last week, which talks about asking prices, it's clear that sellers and estate agents still haven't quite grasped exactly what's going on with the market. They marked asking prices up by 2.5% over the previous month, and so asking prices are now nearly 10% higher than they were at the peak of the market back in 2008. Sold prices, which is what the Land Registry are confirming, are perhaps a little bit more tempered, and there are indeed wide fluctuations across the country with, as you say, London house prices 18% up on where they were this time last year, but prices in Yorkshire and Humberside down by 2.2% over the last month alone, so a wide variation.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about those regional differences because, of course, it's easy for everyone to get caught up in that headline figure for London where, frankly, it's an entirely different property market. What does it tell us about the state of play outside of the capital, particularly in the northwest and northeast where traditionally we've seen the biggest falls?
Well, it shows us that across the UK as a whole, when we're talking about England and Wales, the deal prices, that's the prices that people are paying, are not as high as the estate agents and sellers are asking. People are negotiating, they're haggling, and they're doing better deals perhaps away from the capital and the southeast of England. The market, though, is still robust across much of the country. We're still seeing good trading volumes. The taxman, HMRC, again reports once a month, and he tells us that transactions this year for 2014 will be around the million or just over a million, which is pretty much back to where the long-term trend is.
Yeah, you touched on it there, Henry, that idea that asking prices and sold prices can be very different things. Frankly, sellers think they can get more for their house than the market will allow. I mean, what does it tell us about the changing attitudes of sellers and I suppose, and crucially, buyers when it comes to actually putting their money on the table? What are they prepared to pay for a house, regardless of what the seller is asking?
Well, I think what it tells us very clearly is that buyers have perhaps reached the end as far as affordability is concerned at the moment. We know that after the mortgage market review that came in the spring, which sounds rather benign, but it made borrowing money much harder than it had been up until then. That's made buyers perhaps get to the end of their tether as far as what they're prepared to pay. And as we saw with the Office for National Statistics rental survey that came out yesterday, I think that buyers and tenants have decided that enough is enough, and they're no longer prepared to pay ever-increasing prices, be it capital values or indeed rents.
OK, Henry, as always, really good to talk to you. Henry Pryor there talking us through those numbers.